I live in a city that people are moving to in order to get away from larger, more crowded cities. Tyler, Texas is growing in part due to the influx of what I call young retireds, people who have moved here shortly after retiring from jobs in larger cities. Among the reasons people move here include less traffic than in large cities, access to good quality health care, a range of shopping and dining establishments, a good arts and entertainment scene, and so forth. In short, quality of life issues. But just because Tyler is smaller than, say, Dallas, doesn't guarantee any of these things. Indeed, there are plenty of small cities all over America that don't have the same quality of life indicators that Tyler has, and as a result, instead of growing, they're shrinking. And if you've ever lived in a shrinking community, you know how disheartening it can be. In today's episode from the book of Nehemiah, the people of Jerusalem confronted the issue of how to deal with a city that had declined dramatically, and their solution was surely unique. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Monday, January 24th, 2022. Our story in Nehemiah, which took a bit of a detour with the episode concerning Ezra and the reading of the law, now returns to the question of the city of Jerusalem itself. The reconstruction of the wall is virtually complete, but now they face a different challenge. Not the rebuilding of the walls of the city, nor even the rebuilding of the temple. They face the problem of a city with too few residents. Here's how it's recorded in the 11th chapter of Nehemiah. Now the leaders of the people lived in Jerusalem, and the rest of the people cast lots to bring 1 out of 10 to live in the holy city of Jerusalem, while the 9/10 remained in the other towns. And the people blessed all those who willingly offered to live in Jerusalem. There weren't enough people to properly inhabit Jerusalem, so they hit upon a novel idea. They held a lottery and chose 10% of the surrounding population of the surrounding communities to move to Jerusalem. I don't know if it was to limit the number of people coming to Jerusalem or to find that many people to come, but one way or another, they had to have a lottery. There are cities all over America, and indeed all over the world, that are facing very much the same issue as more and more people leave small towns and rural areas to go where there are jobs in abundance. Italy, among other places, has developed another novel approach to solving this problem. I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but apparently many towns will sell you a house in the historic area of the town for the equivalent of about $1, with the stipulation that you must renovate the house within a certain number of years. These usually aren't houses with yards as we think of houses, but houses in old areas where houses are connected to one another and are right up on the street. Now, selling houses for $1 won't necessarily guarantee that people will move there permanently, but at least it will guarantee that people will put money into the towns and into the houses, and that visitors will come more regularly, thus pumping up the economies of those towns. Holding a lottery and assigning 10% of the population from surrounding towns to live in Jerusalem was certainly another novel way to repopulate a city that had declined. But it seems to me there is something more than just a desire to keep an old city alive here. Jerusalem, even then, wasn't just any city. It was a holy city. The holy city. Jerusalem's viability as a city affected everyone and everything in Israel. It was the center of religious life of all of the people, and it was where the kings of Israel had lived in ages past. To repopulate Jerusalem was as important to the life of the people as rebuilding its walls, rebuilding the temple, or reconstituting the lives of the people and recommitting to live according to the law of Moses. I'm reminded of a familiar passage from Isaiah, one of the passages that includes that vision of the wolf and the lamb feeding together. That part we remember, but we forget the beginning of the passage. and it has to do with what is happening in Nehemiah and in Jerusalem. Isaiah says, "I am about to create Jerusalem as a joy and its people as a delight. I will rejoice in Jerusalem and delight in my people. No more shall the sound of weeping be heard in it, or the cry of distress." A reconstituted Jerusalem was part of the prophetic promise to the people in exile and to the returning exiles. And now it was becoming a reality. And the reality we see is really rather mundane. A lottery to see who gets to or who has to move to Jerusalem. It's hard to know whether these people were happy about the prospect of moving into Jerusalem. What is clear, that a rejuvenated Jerusalem wasn't just a scheme to prop up a city in economic decline. In Jerusalem's well-being was the well-being of all the people. Tomorrow, another rather mundane event, a dedication service. But for now, may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.